What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. So good to have you here. We got a lot to cover this week. Some news in regards to the DCU Clayface film coming, dynamic duo cartoon, reports on who Chris Evans may be playing in Avengers Doomsday, and so much more this week in the Zone News. Let's go. So we are in James Gunn's DCU world right now. It is off and running with Creature Commandos, and I really am enjoying that series a lot. It's good so far. And we got Superman coming up. But now we just got some recent news that we have a couple of different things being greenlit in the James Gunn DCU world that I'm excited about. Let's take a look. All right, so this is coming from Deadline. So DC Studios Clayface being written by Mike Flanagan. Um, Clayface is officially joining the new DC universe more than a year after Mike Flanagan pitched his take on the shape-shifting supervillain. Deadline has confirmed that Flanagan has been tapped to write the script for DC Studios, admit his work on the upcoming Exorcist reboot. We understand the studio is still searching for a director. Flanagan has expressed his interest in making a standalone Clayface movie, writing on Twitter in 2021 that he wants to approach the film as a horror thriller tragedy. In March 2023, our sources told us that Flanagan's take on Clayface will not feature the character as a villain after the writer had a meeting with DC bosses James Gunn and Peter Safran, who took over DC Studios in 2022. Although Flanagan wasn't pitching the character to be part of Matt Reeves' DC Elseworld, other sources have said that Clayface is a big addition to Reeves' The Batman 2. Clayface got his DC introduction as part of the Detective Comics and number 40 in June of 1940. While there would eventually be a number of shape-shifting DC antagonists using that alias, the original Clayface was a moderately successful actor who adopted the identity of a character he portrayed in a horror pic after turning to crime. He's a frequent adversary of Batman with a body seemingly made out of clay, who has appeared over the years in numerous films, television series, animated works, video games, and other forms of media, being portrayed on the series Gotham, the CW, and Pennyworth. And it goes on to talk more about Clayface, the character. So I'm actually excited for this news. First, I saw on Instagram James Gunn threads confirm that this Clayface would in fact be a part of the DCU, meaning this Clayface would be in their world that they're building and not the Matt Reeves worlds. So that's cool. Which also means because they have an actor voicing Clayface in Creature Commandos, and I know James Gunn said that the people who are voicing the characters in Creature Commandos are also going to be the actors playing those characters in live action. So I wonder if that person is going to also be Clayface in this film. With that being said, I dig it. Here's why. Because Clayface, if done right, could be a really dope solo film, similar to the Joker, because of the character and all that he's gone through. If they don't make him, the big shape-shifting character that you see in the game, not saying the shape-shifting piece isn't a part of it, but if that's not the main focus, like him turning into this massive, clay shape-shifting person like he's in the cartoon and the games, but more, I like the idea of it being more of a tragedy horror film, where you feel bad for the character and for what happens to him, and then watching him turn into this monster, and then getting to see them build off that into additional movies, whether it be Batman and so on and so forth. I think that's a dope idea. But they got to land it right because it could also be trash. So I hope they go with the whole horror, tragic story and allow us to see that character be developed and then grow and watch him into other films. But what say you? What do you think? I'm excited. I like this news. James Gunn is we're here. We are in the new DCU, and James Gunn, in my opinion, is off and running. But of course, all we have right now is Creature Commandos and ideas. But so far, so good. Let me know your thoughts. So, along with announcing that we were getting a Clayface film, there was also another project that was greenlit and officially announced coming from, again, James Gunn's new DCU and Warner Brothers Animation, and that is the dynamic duo um, animation. Let's take a look. All right, so this is coming from superherohype.com. It says dynamic duo DC Robin movie announced with Matt Reeves and James Gunn. So a new animated film is on the way from DC Studios. Per deadline, Dynamic Duo has been greenlit as a film at DC Studios and Warner Brothers Animation. Dynamic Duo will follow the early days of Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, two characters who eventually become obviously Batman's partner, Robin. DC Studios' James Gunn and the Batman Matt Reeves are two of the producers of Dynamic Duo. Gunn posted the news on his X account with the logo for the film. This is something special, Gunn wrote in the caption. Over the moon, excited to announce the newest DC Studio Warner Brothers Pictures animation greenlit film for theaters, Dynamic Duo. The story of Robin, or should I say Robins, as in Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, the first feature film from the visionary Swaybox, a mix of animation. That's from James Gunn. So what do we expect to see in Dynamic Duo? So Dynamic Duo will be made by Swaybox, a New Orleans-based animation studio from husband and wife creators Arthur Mintz and Teresa Anderson. Swaybox uses Momo animation, which combines CGI, stop motion, and live action real time performance. Ooh. Mintz will direct from a script by Matthew Aldrich, which is Coco and Lightyear. Coco, good. Lightyear, not so much. Our producers include Gunn and Peter Safran via DC Studios, Reeves via Six in Idaho, and Anderson via Swaybox Studios. Executive producers include Michael Uslan. I have wanted to make a film with Arthur and Swaybox for many years, and for that film to be Dynamic Duo, an incredible, special, and unique Batman and Robin story for families is a dream, Reeves said. Dynamic Duo is not connected to Reeves' Batman universe, which includes the Batman and the Penguin. The DC Robin movie is the first joint project between DC Studios and Warner Brothers Pictures Animation. Animation will be a major part of Gunn's DC universe. The animated series Creature Commandos will be the first television series in the DCU's Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters. Dynamic Duo will be released theatrically at a later date. And I just read in a more recent article that it looks like, according to superherohype.com, that Dynamic Duo will arrive in theaters June 30th, 2028. So we got some time on that. But with that being said, animation about the Robins, if you will, that sounds cool. That sounds cool. Depending on how it's done, that's an interesting story. Getting to see Jason Todd's story and Dick Grayson's story together. Interesting. What do you all think? Again, not a whole lot there, just that they're going to do the story of the Robins and call it Dynamic Duo in its in an animation form. We have some time, 2028 before we see it. I believe Clayface is actually coming out in 2026. So there's a lot between now and that film. But yeah, I'm in. I'm interested. Like I said, right now, James Gunn has my full faith. Now, if Creature Commandos doesn't turn out to be great, and so far it is, or Superman ends up being trash, then I'll be worried. But right now, I'm not worried. Would love to hear your thoughts. So, if you haven't heard by now, it has been reported that Chris Evans will be returning to the MCU in Avengers Doomsday, along with obviously Robert Downey Jr. coming back to play Doctor Doom. And of course, a lot of people obviously speculated that with Chris Evans coming back, he'll be playing Captain America or some variant of Captain America, because we have Steve Rogers in the 616, and we also have Anthony Mackie's Falcon now being Captain America. So, everyone was assuming that he would be coming back as some Captain America variant. However, there's reports that it's not who we think he is going to be, and who he's going to be, if true, is very, very interesting. Let's take a look. Okay, this is coming from coming soon. Actually, sorry, superherohype.com says report Chris Evans of Avengers Doomsday character reveal. So Chris Evans' Avengers Doomsday role may not remain a mystery anymore, as a new report possibly reveals who he is playing. It isn't Captain America or even his long theorized twisted Captain Hydra variant. It isn't Johnny Storm either. We saw that. Instead, it is a version of Chris Evans' character that we have seen in MCU's past outings. So, Chris Evans reportedly playing Nomad in Avengers Doomsday. So, trusted industry insider Jeff Snyder, who recently broke the news of Bill Skarsgård and Dacre Montgomery leading Dead Man's Wire, has now revealed Chris Evans' Doomsday character. It isn't someone that many fans would have expected, as Snyder name dropped Nomad. Speaking on Hot Mic podcast with John Roca, Snyder said, "I've heard who the character is," continuing to tease the reveal further. Snyder said, "I was having the conversation today and someone mentioned it, Nomad." Considering this reveal didn't come from Marvel Studios, it needs to be taken with a grain of salt. But for those unaware, Nomad is the alternate identity that Steve Rogers takes on in 1974's Captain America number 180 comic. In this storyline, he abandons his Captain America moniker after losing faith in the U.S. government and becomes a man serving no country. A version of Nomad was loosely adapted in Avengers Infinity War, where Chris Evans' Steve Rogers was on the run with Sam Wilson and Natasha Romanoff. Co-director Joe Russo told LRM Online that Rogers wasn't exactly Nomad there, but embodied the spirit of that character. However, if Snyder's scoop is to be believed, then a true version of Nomad could show up in Doomsday. But it isn't clear whether this Nomad would be a multiversal variant of Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom universe, or someone that Earth 616 Steve Rogers became after leaving with the Infinity Stones in Avengers Endgame. Further, it isn't known whether he'd be a hero supporting the Avengers or a villain in Doom's team either. For now, fans must wait for more details until Marvel's officially confirms Snyder's report. Avengers Doomsday arrives on May 1st, 2026. Look, if this is true, I am all in. That is dope. I hope that it isn't like a variant from Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom's world, but I actually hope it's the Steve Rogers that we know from the 616, because remember, he goes back in time, puts the Infinity Stone back, and then spends the rest of his life with Peggy, and we don't know what the outcome of that was, but that he just went back and had a life with Peggy, and then we see him as old man Steve Rogers, but he doesn't speak about what his life was like. So it would be cool if Steve Rogers went back and couldn't ignore, because he's Steve Rogers, he's a hero, so he couldn't ignore what was going on in the world, but like something happened that made him go, you know what, I I'm dropping the whole Captain America thing, um, and becomes Nomad. I think that would be cool, even if it was a temporary thing, because again, we don't really quite know what he does when he goes back to live with Peggy. We just see him come back as old man Steve Rogers. So that to me would be very interesting. I know they probably wouldn't get to spend a lot of time on his backstory, but I think it would be cool because we have Captain America. So I don't want him to be Captain America because we have our new Captain America in Anthony Mackie's Falcon. He's Captain America. Let that happen. Let's not distract from the fact that he's Captain America. We're about to see him in Captain America Brave New World. So let's not distract from that. But I do like the idea of Chris Evans coming back and playing Nomad. I think that's dope. What say you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So, one of my favorite bands of all time is The Doors. And obviously, one of my favorite artists of all time is Jim Morrison. I won't say I read all of his books, but I read quite a few of the autobiographies. I own some poetry books from Jim Morrison. Um, of course, saw the movie Doors a trillion times with Val Kilmer, who I thought did absolutely amazing. Um, love every record, every album they've ever created. I am a huge Doors fan. Again, one of my all-time favorite band is Pearl Jam, and was so excited when Pearl Jam and the Doors did songs together. I believe that was for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but that's neither here nor there. That's not what we're here to discuss. But apparently, there is a documentary coming out called Before the End, Searching for Jim Morrison, and there's a trailer that's dropped for it. But let's take a look at the news, shall we? Okay, so this is coming from comingsoon.net. Before the End, Searching for Jim Morrison. Uh, Previews three-part music documentary. So coming soon exclusively reveal the trailer for Before the End, Searching for Jim Morrison. Before the End is a new three-part music documentary about Jim Morrison that will be released in January 2025. It comes from Z Machine and writer and filmmaker Jeff Finn. And then they have the trailer here, which we will react to in a second. But let's talk about what's Before the End, Searching for Jim Morrison. What's it about? So the synopsis reads, a dozen years in the making, Before the End's cryptic tagline encapsulates its investigative approach. One man, countless myths, and in between lies the truth. Z Machine founder Jeff Finn's extraordinary detail work breaks the decades-long hermetic seal on the traumatic formative years that forged a brief, hellacious life through Morrison's controversial career as lead singer of legendary 1960s rock band The Doors, to his reported 1971 death by heart failure in Paris at the age 27. Morris's ostensible demise, technically an unsolved cold case, formed its own rabbit hole of reasonable doubt, which inspired Finn to consult with private investigators and forensic analysis. Um, Before the End transcends rock doc in the same sense that Jim Morrison was more than a rock star, featuring an unprecedented content from shocking corroboration about Morrison's early life to harrowing revelations about his stardom and fresh evidence that contradicts his professed death. Before the End, Searching for Jim Morrison is proudly unauthorized because it seeks the unvarnished truth. The docu-mystery reverse engineers long controlled narratives while it explores the notion of Morrison, the nonconformist, as neurodivergent and deconstructs through on camera interviews with family, friends, lovers, classmates, and associates. Key distinctions between Jim Morrison, rock god, and James Douglas Morrison, introverted outsider. The documentary features interviews with Morrison's cousins, friends, roommates, acquaintances, brother, critics, and more. Before the end, Searching for Jim Morrison will be released in January 13th, 2025 on major platforms such as Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV, Google Play, and YouTube TV. So first off, you had me at Jim Morrison. So I'm in. I'm definitely gonna check this out. But I may have mentioned this on this channel before. I'm not a big, huge documentary person. Like there are some people who like and go out and seek and watch documentaries, but whenever there's one that is going to show me things about an artist that I never heard or read or seen before, or provide additional insight on aspects of their life that I was already interested in but don't have access to. Those are the types of documentaries that I'm into. And then you throw in the fact that it's my favorite artist of all time, Jim Morrison, or one of my favorite artists of all time. Um, I'm in. I want to see this. I want to see what type of additional information they can provide while also diving into the details of his death, because it is a cold case and it is kind of unsolved. So I'm in. I'm interested. Sign me up. Let's go. I can't wait. What do you all think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But you know what? Before we dive into the comments, I forgot. Let's check out this trailer. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's react in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Boom.
Jim Morrison, the lead singer for The Doors, a rock music group, is dead. He was 27.
But the death was kept secret to avoid a sensation.
They say natural causes.
Which natural causes in specific, he wasn't sure.
He was buried in Paris in the same cemetery where Balzac and other French immortals lie.
My name is Jeff Finn, and I'm a lifetime fan of Jim Morrison. I've made it my life's work to extract the real truth from a 50-year-old tale that's been riddled with rumor, lies, and myth.
Jim Morrison's social security number is still active. They're in Rochester, New York. And I think that's like an hour away from where you are now.
What?
Along the way, I get introduced to a very suspicious character.
How does he know all of Jim's friends?
We're seeing that there is what appears to be a major donor on the book here.
I've only shown about 3 people this in the last 50 years.
They all got into Mad Magazine.
Where do you get a coffin? How do you get a body in it that quick?
Is the abuse real? Is the death real? Is anything real about Jim Morrison?
So, I invite you to join me in my search for the real truth. To ask yourself, what if everything we think we know about Jim Morrison is wrong?
Yo. Oh, wait a minute. Now, hold on a second. Okay. Yeah, I'm in. See, this is what I'm talking about. Introduce me to something that I didn't know before. They're giving some insight around his death. Yeah, I'm excited. This looks good. Sign me up. Let's go. Now, let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Do me a favor. If you like the content, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe. And hit that little alarm button as well so you can get alerted whenever I post new content. And also, do me a favor, share with other people who you think would like this content as well. We have a big goal of 1,000 subscribers we're trying to get to, and we need your help. Appreciate it. Till the next one. Peace.